This is a Voyescape podcast. You can find all of our travel podcasts from around the world at voyescape.com.
Welcome to this edition of the Travel in 10 podcast. This week, we've been covering Nepal, and this is going to be our fourth and final episode on Nepal, a bonus episode today, going down to the south of the country. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back together with my co-host Tim Johnson, and we're going to be traveling to the Maldives and sharing a bit of both of our recent experiences there. And next week, a bunch of content coming across on the Maldives as well. So hopefully you'll tune back in for that as well. But today we're going to somewhere that, frankly, I hadn't heard of prior to my trip to Nepal, and I'm really glad I got the chance to experience it. A national park down in the south, really bordering with India, covering over 930 square kilometers, Chitwan National Park. It's been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since the early 1980s, and it's home to a huge amount of biodiversity, over 500 bird species, monkeys, Asian elephants, rhinoceros, tigers. What it is, I would say, is a place for really great sort of cultural experiences, eco experiences, well known for safari trips. It's quite different, I would say, than some of the safaris you might experience in different parts of Africa. I'd actually come just a few weeks prior to this. I was in Kruger National Park, and we're going to talk about that in about 2 weeks' time on the show. But Kruger, is obviously home to some of the most biodiversity in the world and a lot of the big game animals and the big five that you'll see there. Chitwan was much more of you had to really go out and hunt to find the animals there, and definitely more elusive, but definitely once you found them, a very rewarding experience as well, and some rare and endangered species that are hard to find anywhere else in the world, particularly the Bengal tigers and the one-horned rhinoceros that's endangered, but that you certainly can find throughout the park. Two different lodges that I spent some time at while I was in the park. One that was owned by the Taj Group out of India, the Makhali Sarai from Taj Safaris, which is a very luxurious, over-the-top sort of high-end luxury lodge with private pools in each room, located right on the edge of Chitwan National Park with views over the river. Really sort of lavish luxury suites here, gourmet dining, beautiful spa and tailored sort of safari experiences there. Out of all the hotels that I saw in Nepal, this was probably the most luxurious and the most over the top of the luxury properties that I came across the country. The second hotel that I spent some time at, and where we're really going to dig into in today's episode, was much more focused on the sort of eco-tourism aspects and cultural tourism aspects, the Barahi Jungle Lodge. Also a beautiful sort of luxury eco property, very much overlooking the national park right on the banks of the Rapti River as well. It's very much had its architecture inspired by the local indigenous communities, and blending sort of modern and traditional elements together with sort of spacious cottages and private balconies. They've got a spa, infinity pool, some great dining experiences that we're going to talk a little bit about, and a ton of really sort of eco-focused and culturally focused activities that you can experience there as well. Certainly, working together with the local community was a big part of what they do. And to start off with, I'll let the general manager there from Barahi Jungle Lodge talk just a little bit about that relationship and how they incorporate it into guest stays.
So tonight we have got Tharu cultural dance. Tharu is community, which is from nearby. As being sustainable lodge, we try to promote culture of local area.
Yeah.
So two major those communities, which are Tharu and Kumal, alternate days. These families, they are coming to show their cultural dance. It lasts for 45 minutes approximately.
And do you have that every night at the hotel?
Every night.
Every night? Wow, okay.
Yes. So tonight Tharu, tomorrow it will be Kumal cultural dance.
Okay.
So alternatively.
Alternating every night. Yes.
We give guests some experiential dinner. Experiential means we will show you various venues where bush dinner, playground dinner, riverside dinner, various those venues we have got where some experiential dinners these are given to our guests. So we try to exceed guest expectation for that experience for sure.
That gives you just a little bit of a flavor of those evening cultural performances that you get every night here at the lodge. One of two different community groups who come in and share some of their local knowledge and experiences, lifestyle, and then put on a cultural performance as well. And it certainly does make this experience really stand out here. But beyond that are these experiential dinners that they do every night as well. So, for example, on one of the first evenings that I arrived, there was a candlelight setup and beautiful tables right at the river's edge overlooking the national park, and you could have a candlelight dinner there. And multi-course meal, and really, you know, the chef was incredibly accommodating, and any different taste, anything you wanted that they were able to prepare and bring out. Another evening, there were lanterns lighting the way up into the forest, and then your tables were all set up throughout the forest with the sounds of the animals all around you, and served dinner right in the middle of a forest experience. So those experiential dinners really did elevate the experience and making it something really unique and really special as well. The other thing that, of course, is very unique and very special here are the safari experiences, and a couple of different types of safaris that you're going to get a chance to experience. The first one that we're going to jump along for is what one of the river safari experiences is like.
The national park. So the national park was established in 1973, and it is enlisted in World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1984. So because it has a very unique biodiversity we have here, and we have an immense number of flora and fauna. And here we have more than 655 bird species around Chitwan, and more than 75 species of mammals, lots of varieties of different species of the butterflies, insects, and thousands of floras here. And it is mainly enlisted in World Heritage Site because of its because of our greater 100 rhinos, the protected area, and also the unique diverse biodiversity here.
As the river safari continued, we saw a wide variety of wildlife and a beautiful sunset as we were traveling down the river. And this is where another one of those experiential moments came into play as well, where they'd set up a number of tents on the riverside. We pulled off on our boat, and we had a great opportunity to have sundowner drinks and appetizers and meet with everybody who we would be staying with at the lodge over the next few days. And that's something that they did repeatedly throughout the week, is following the safaris, having different types of sundowner experiences and different parts of the park that you could experience as well. You could do walking safaris, you could do these canoeing and river safaris, and one of the main things was getting out in the jeeps to see some of the big game. So trying to see the elusive Bengal tiger and getting to see the one-horned rhinoceros as well. And I'll let you hear just a little bit of that experience as well.
The Indian bisons, so these are the big animals. So it's depends upon our luck too to see them, and also the right timing at the right place. So jungle, it's always unpredictable and full of surprises. So we may never know, and sometimes we have lots of sightings, sometimes we have less. And please always make your expectation low in the jungle because you will be disappointed later. And jungle itself is a beautiful place. So you may never know. Please enjoy the beauty of the nature. And while going through the road, there might be some leaning and branches and grasses on the sides. So be careful with it. And I request you to mind your eyes on both sides for the spotting of birds and animals, because more eyes, more sightings. And one female tiger, it occupies 15 to 25 square kilometers areas. And and the male tiger, it have a huge area, like 40 to 60 square kilometers, and sometimes a dominant tiger have more than 100 square kilometers, like that. In that case, we can say if this is the area of one male tiger, then we can expect 2-3 females. So that's how we guess, or we count. We count by only the camera trapping with the photo. Yes, tigers, they don't like to walk in the bushy areas. They mark their territory in this kind of clear paths, either the jeep track or their separate walking path. Animals have their one walking path. So in those places, we just keep those cameras.
And when you spot tigers in the Jeep Safari,
Yes.
do they come close?
Sometimes they come close nearby the jeep. Yes. Sometimes they don't care, but here the tigers are not that much friendly. So we say that the tigers see us 100 times and we see them 10 times, like that once, because they can hear the jeep sound, and when they hear the sound, then they try to hide just behind the bush to make us pass away, and they come out in the road.
So just moments after this, as we were continuing to travel by Jeep throughout the park, the radio crackled to life and we heard that there were Bengali tigers just up ahead on the trail. There were probably about 6 or 7 different Jeeps touring the park at the time, and they all converged on one spot. We arrived, unfortunately, just a moment too late. That literally every other Jeep who was there touring the park that day had a chance to capture a glimpse, and in some cases got some great pictures of the tigers that were there. We missed them, but a few moments later, as we turned another corner, we did have an opportunity to see the one-horned rhinoceros, and then continued throughout the rest of the morning to see herds of rhinoceros throughout the park, and really stunning views. There were places where you could go up in wildlife hides and get a view over the savannah and see multiple different rhinoceros together. There were monkeys who were coming in and interacting with us throughout. So definitely got a chance to see a wide variety of wildlife, but the Bengali tiger was just a bit elusive for us that day, but it was the exception. I mean, as I say, all the other Jeeps who were on safari that day did have an opportunity to see them. Unfortunately, the next day I was back out and on to our next destination. So did not get a chance to see the tigers in person, but did get to experience everything else that you could experience at the lodge, including a great spa that I would highly recommend, an infinity pool that you were able to come back to after you're finished doing your bird watching or canoeing trip or guided safari. And then also another experience that they emphasized, and there were multiple opportunities to, were visits to the nearby villages that they incorporated as well. So hopefully those couple of recordings give you a bit of a sense of what it's like to visit Chitwan National Park, and a bit of a sense of Barahi Jungle Lodge, really a unique and a great property there that I would certainly recommend checking out. I think if you're coming to Nepal and doing a trek, doing one of the traditional Everest trips or trips up through the Himalayas, making sure you've got a couple of days on either end of that trip to get out and do a jungle safari. It's a super relaxing experience between the spa experiences, the wildlife experiences. Just makes a great way to cap out a trekking trip and an experience in Nepal. Hopefully you found that useful and helpful for planning your trip if you're thinking of going to Nepal and considering going down to the south of the country and considering Chitwan National Park. And hopefully you can come back tomorrow as we launch into our next region that we're covering, the Maldives, and going to share some of our recent experiences there. Both Tim and I covered a number of different resorts and a number of different experiences while we visited the Maldives, and we'll be talking about that, kind of why to visit, where to stay, what to do, what to eat on a trip to the Maldives, coming back with the podcast tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in again. If you're finding the information that we're sharing helpful, it's hugely helpful if you can give us a review or a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to us, and we'll continue to bring you new destinations from around the world.